Helldivers 2 just had some brand new weapons and equipment showcased, with some additional items coming to the game. We also have some new reviews in. We have the CEO describing the war room atmosphere on launch day, and some further details on weapon balance, what's also going on with the automatons, a brand new major order, as well as some neat tips and tricks. We got a lot to talk about. What's up, bros? Should be back in there, touching on all things Helldivers 2. Okay, so let's just jump right into the actual new weapons that did get showcased. Now this does also have equipment and as well as some other items. First up, we do have a brand new shotgun called the Arc 12 Blitzer. It is a wide burst of high voltage electricity that arcs between all units, enemy or otherwise within range. So clearly this is going to have to be a skillful weapon or the friendly fire will get a little out of hand. This sounds like a ton of fun to use though, and I can't wait for this weapon to be in the actual game. Next up, we do have an additional backpack called the BX7 Displacer Pack, which is a portable teleportation device which activates the moment before the user would take potentially fatal blow. I do wonder if the actual teleportation or porting mechanic is pertaining to a random location, or if this is set by the player that they will then warp back to. If you played games like World of Warcraft, this is reminiscent of like a time warp on a mage. This does sound pretty cool though. I'm not sure if this will be replaced with the shield backpack or shield generator. However, this is definitely a much cooler alternative, at least in my opinion. As yes, the backpack or the shield generator does actually save you from fatal damage, or at least some that are potential, and I'll showcase one little tip later that can actually save you in a rut. We'll have to wait and see how this one plays out, and if it's taken over the shield generator. I do want to kind of try this one out myself. We have another shotgun called the SGAP Punisher Plasma. Obviously from the name, this does fire plasma rounds, but they are exploding. And of course here they do add that exploding plasma can actually injure your squad mates. Which yeah, of course it looks like both these shotguns are going to have some friendly fire issues there. But that is pretty cool for balance purposes there, as you don't want two OP weapons, or at least adding that friendly fire mechanic there. Hopefully these are things that are taken at later levels, or at least earned at later levels. As yeah, some of the newer players might not understand that a lot of these weapons do actually cause friendly fire damage. We do see some variants away from shotguns here, which is actually a decently cool one, a CB9 exploding crossbow. This one fires obviously powerful exploding bolts, which can do maximum damage upon direct impact. And then of course they do add here that gravity must be accounted for when aiming, which adds into it being a bow or crossbow like weapon. A lot of these weapons were actually missing their stats, especially for damage. This one here does showcase how much damage it does, which comparative to other weapons is quite high. It also has some penetration and outer radius. Seems like this weapon will also be really good for objectives, especially the ones where you need grenades, especially for when you run out of grenades during the bug hole ones. Definitely another really cool weapon to check out, especially for those claws, which you either need to hit from the back with an autocannon or the railgun in the front with the legs, at least seemingly to get those down quickly. So we'll have to see how much that penetration and outer radius and explosive damage does to kind of mitigate that. Now next up here we do have a rifle. This is the R36 Eruptor, which is actually a bolt action rifle that fires jet assisted shells that explode shrapnel in all directions upon impact. They said it's not recommended for close quarter use, so this will obviously do team damage as well as self damage. The damage is quite high here, again at 150 with a penetration of 3 and an outer radius of 7. So this even has more radius than the explosive crossbow, with even some medium armor penetration. This will probably be my personal favorite, or at least what I'm going to use, as I do use the Diligence rifle, and I really do need help with the claws, as I prefer the autocannon over the railgun. However, I might swap back and forth there, or at least change it up for a little bit, but I do think this might be the Diligence replacer, so I am really excited about this one. Now last up here we do actually have the B1 supply pack. Supply boxes containing ammunition with a backpack that allows the user to distribute boxes to the fellow Helldivers. Obviously we already do have an armor backpack, but this one does have 6 slots instead of 4. However, we do have a commenter here that actually points out why this is the case, where he said, to those questioning 6-slot supply backpack, it seems to be worded where it only resupplies ammo, versus the current backpack which gives you 2 grenades, 2 stims, and ammo. They also made another good point here where they said, so for LMG/grenade users, this might be the more efficient stratagem, whereas especially for the grenade launcher, you're obviously not needing grenades as much, so resupplying that ammo is much more needed. Another useful tip here that I kind of struggled with at first is that, can you re-up the ammo if you're the only one carrying the backpack? And yes, you actually can. On PS5, the default button is down on the directional button, and for PC, it is the 5 key. So you can actually resupply yourself with the older backpack as well as the new one. Super interesting stuff there, and again, this was showcased by Mad as Bananas on TikTok. Be sure to link down to his TikTok down below so you can check out when he finds anything else or showcase anything else. Again, people did ask if these were real, and yes, they have been demoed in-game by some developers. so we do know that all this stuff is very much real and potentially coming to the game very, very soon. We had the CEO come out again to talk about the war room atmosphere on launch day. He said as the servers were breaking, a tidal wave of unexpected divers came flooding in. We saw the graph, just players rising and rising. That has to be really cool and also very much fearful on your overall game and server load. They obviously did not expect this many players to be playing, especially on both platforms. And I think they've done quite a good job with keeping the player base updated as well as trying to fix those server issues and raise the server cap, which now seemingly at all hours I'm able to get in nearly instantly. Now the CEO did go on to say a few insightful things here, where he said the realization came pretty sudden on like the 6th of February, 2 days before the game launch. If these numbers hold up, do our servers hold up? And obviously they said, nope, not at all. Like, what are we going to do? The team really got cracking immediately. He went on further to say, so the release night, we hosted a celebration at the studio where we were streaming the game and having fun with the community. But a lot of the team, or a lot of the developers, were in what we call the war room, where we were looking at performance. Eventually became clear that this is actually going to be a big problem in a couple of hours. I can't imagine the mixed emotions there with the game's success and also being worried about your own servers not holding up. Again, really cool to see the team pull through and do it so quickly. Which brings us on to the next point of the reviews and the recent Steam reviews, where it's now sitting at a very positive on Steam. It has just hit that 80% mark, so hopefully that keeps going, especially with now that everything's kind of been fixed. I know a lot of the reviews as of late or prior to these server issues were actually about the servers and latency and crashes. So as they fix all of that and get that all sorted out, it does seem like the game is going to do much more success. Really cool to see that the developers pull through and the game get back on that very positive review status. Now, a lot of people have been calling for weapon balance, or especially with the breaker shotgun. And we do have the CEO coming on to talk about that. He went on here to say that we are looking at the data and doing a balance patch. You would be surprised to learn that while the breaker shotgun does score more downs, it is not overrepresented in missions that end in success. But it's nice to hear that they are doing a balance patch sometime soon and getting weapons aligned a little bit better. I still really enjoy Diligence, as well as I've seen other commenters point that out as well. I do think the balance is fairly reasonable, however, it is nice to hear that they are looking at the numbers and kind of getting that more in line with how it should be. When that balance patch does come out, I will be sure to cover it. Now, someone made a really good point here, as we do have a lot of the map and a lot of the sectors not kind of outlined. So a lot of people thought that the automatons were heading or moving towards Super Earth, but they're actually heading north to Cyberstan. It looks like we can, as players, have an effect on this, or at least stop them from heading there. It will be really cool to see how this map does play out, and I really like how the players and the community do influence this. Of course, there's been that rumor and now confirmation of a game developer or developers pulling levers and pushing buttons with kind of war events. And it does seem like it's just one person that is a game master who's setting that all up. His name apparently is Joel, so if you do see the memes go around about that, that's kind of what that pertains to. Again, hopefully they can get that more in line with like an automation system there, so it doesn't have to just be one person pulling the strings. However, it is really cool to see a game master or developer be so into the game and in depth with it. Some late minute mentionables here is that we do actually have that new major order, which is to liberate Veld. And here, a friendly reminder to save at least 1,000 super credits for future premium war bonds. The next one is actually fairly close on March 14th. So if you do have a decent amount of super credits like myself and you're wanting to save for the next battle pass, now is probably the time. There's also another really cool thing pointed out by Dude Chance on Reddit here, where if your buddy does have the shield backpack or the shield generator backpack, you can actually do the hug emote and actually survive that 500 kg together. It's really cool to see the mechanics of this game kind of flesh out, even with the hitboxes there, or that you can get inside your friend's shield generator and it actually protect you. It just showcases that this game is very mechanically sound and smooth, which I think is great for the game's future, especially when they have those mechanics grounded. Overall, though, that's it about covered for today's video. If you'd like and subscribe, and until the next one, deuces.